Grand opening, grand closing.
Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. Your only friend these YouTube streets, Puerto77, back with another video, and you can see it right here. So we're gonna get the official announcements on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific, on the future of Xbox. Apparently on the official Xbox podcast. It's gonna be on YouTube. It's going to be Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, and they're going to have a podcast, and they're going to talk about the business plans and direction of Xbox. Interesting format. It's like it's going to have conversational tones. It's weird in a way because it's not direct. That means, like, how long is the podcast going to be? Is it going to be interactive? Is it live? Or is it pre-recorded? It's probably pre-recorded, and it's going to get uploaded. If it's pre-recorded, like the classic podcast, not a live podcast, but the classic, they record the podcast and they upload it. It's gonna have tailored script language, and the real question is how they're gonna present, the way forward. I'm gonna say this. I'm just gonna say the things that don't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is the conversation or the rationale that Microsoft's going to put some of the games, but not all of the games on PlayStation and Nintendo. That logic doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's going to be Pentiment, I guess now is part of the rumor. Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, like live service games and smaller games that could use the bigger audience. But the big tentpole games, I guess that's how they explain it, the Halos, the Gears, the Elder Scrolls, those will remain exclusive, right? Or at least only on Game Pass supported platforms and not on PlayStation or Nintendo. That doesn't make sense to me, because how do you pitch that idea to the higher ups? How does the higher ups, like, how do you formulate that? Like, you tell the higher ups, we're gonna put these games on PlayStation, Nintendo, but not these games, right? These are the select games we're going to decide that can go Nintendo and PlayStation, and it's perfectly fine, but these games can absolutely go. They have to stay within the ecosystem. How do you explain that? Like, when a shareholder, investors, or somebody be like, why? Like, what's the significance of keeping some games away from PlayStation, Nintendo? Like, what rationale can you say? Can you say, oh, we're doing it because of console sales? We gotta give meaning to the console to get people to buy a console. So then I would ask, so some of the games is gonna make people buy consoles. Then why don't you just keep all of it? Wouldn't all the games being exclusive sell consoles? And if all games exclusive sell consoles, then how come we're not selling consoles? So we're going to reduce the amount of exclusives, and you expect higher outputs of console sales with less exclusives? Sure, you have some exclusives, but it's still less. So less exclusives will equal more console sales when we had all the exclusives and not getting the console sales. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. How does reducing the amount of console sales lead to more console sales? It doesn't make sense. It's not a logical business tactic. It's just fighting the console war, right? You could say, oh, we gotta, Xbox gotta be competitive, but what if Microsoft with their numbers say they're not competitive? Remember all the things they said during the AB Keat of the Activision Blizzard trial, right? They said pretty much PlayStation dominates everything across the board. So what if it's already a bridge too far? What if it's already too late to consider Xbox ever being able to compete against PlayStation, right? And I think that's what it is. I think they realize they hit the point where there's no chance Xbox will compete with console in the console space. It's a losing battle. You're just going to bleed money into something you're never going to gain. And even if you find success, right? What would the success be? Define success for Xbox. Like half the sales of PlayStation 5 or PlayStation consoles? 70 million sales? 80 million sales? Because chances are you're not going to get 100 because you're not a worldwide brand. So what's success? What is a successful Xbox generation, right? Because chances are, you know, one of the key factors of 360 being successful was also PlayStation 3 royally messing up the first 3 years. It was bad, right? You're probably not going to see that. I mean, there's a chance that maybe, all it takes is one bad gen or one stupid move, right, to have a bad gen. But you're probably not going to see that, right? So it's just going to be interesting to see. Do I think Xbox going to reveal the full plan? Probably not. But if they don't outright say something definitive, like, no, we're not supporting PlayStation and Nintendo, or no, Bethesda Games, 343, Coalition, these studios are not and will not make games for PlayStation. Things are definitive. Like, if it's going to be this partial strategy, then definitively say what's the partial strategy. Say the studios that will make PlayStation Nintendo games, and then just say the studios that will not. Say that, hey, we equipped, Bethesda, we equipped Activision. They will continue to make PlayStation games. But Coalition, 343, Playground, Ninja Theory, they are not equipped, or we did not invest in resources for them to make PlayStation games, so they won't be making PlayStation games because we didn't invest the resource to that. Bethesda, Activision, they already had the resources to make PlayStation games, so they will continue to make PlayStation games. But the rest, 343, nope, we're not investing in PlayStation technology for them to make games. Be definitive. Because if you don't hear those definitive statements, they're gonna open a door, right? As far, depending on what they say, if they say anything about putting games on PlayStation and Nintendo, don't fall for the whole, well, there's only gonna be some. Because it doesn't make sense. Again, why are you holding titles back then? What's the goal? And again, if you say, well, you got to have console sales, so you're going to be competitive with less exclusives. You're going to take away exclusives and make a multi-plat. And you're going to try to fight the console market with less exclusives overall. Doesn't make sense. If you're going to fight the console market, do it right. All the games should be exclusive. Nothing should go to PlayStation, Nintendo. Nothing. Even Pentiment. Nothing. Give them nothing. That's the only way it makes sense. If you're gonna do the console thing, do it right. Go all the way. Don't hold back. But half-assing it doesn't make sense. You half-ass the strategy and you expect more sales out of a half-ass strategy. No matter what you do, any game you put on PlayStation, Nintendo, people will always assume that there's gonna be more games, even if that's not your intention. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, we're gonna figure out Thursday, February 15th. They probably did it so that way you Xbox fanboys can enjoy your Valentine's Day, assuming you have a Valentine, because most of y'all live in basements alone. But anyway, this is your only friend, is YouTube Streets, Puerto77. We'll figure it out. But hey, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to have Mooch tomorrow. He's coming through. And if little, Doc Dark, he's going through it. So hopefully he'll come through. There's going to be a great show. And then Thursday is going to be crazy. Be crazy. But anyway, your only friend is YouTube Streets, Puerto77. I'm out of here. You guys take care. Peace.
Grand opening, grand closing.